this woman right here could save Theta's life. Hello and welcome back to Suck War Central. My name is CJ, and today we're going to be discussing exactly why Morena needs a specialist and what ability she wants Volkson to learn. In order to do that, we're going to need to go over what exactly specialists can do that other categories can't do. Now, as we discussed in my last video, I've observed the Specialist Nen category to broadly fall into 4 categories of what, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to call fuckery. We've got time fuckery, healing fuckery, Nen fuckery, and mind fuckery. Now, before we go any further, I want to stress that this is not any kind of canon subdivision. It is my personal theory based on what we have observed, and there are valid reasons to disagree with it. However, everything I say in this video will be based on what we have seen specialists do in Hunter x Hunter, and thus, even if you disagree with how I've categorized them, I think it's still worth a watch. So, let's see if we can figure out what exactly Morena is planning. First things first, it's important to establish any evidence Morena herself has given us about what her goals could be. For starters, Morena needs a specialist for this, so it has to involve a Nen ability that only a specialist could create. Additionally, Morena was hoping to snag one of 4th Prince Terror Sandwich's guards for this, so it almost certainly has something to do with our enigmatic prince himself. Morena does say she wants to infect one of his soldiers to keep an eye on his whereabouts, but she wouldn't need a specialist for simple recon, so there has to be more to it than that. Lastly, we need to consider what exactly Morena knows about the situation on the upper tiers. You see, Morena's liaison to the 4th Prince was rather unceremoniously diced and disassembled after Morena betrayed her benefactor, so she probably doesn't know what we know about the 4th Prince's formidable Nen. I add the caveat probably because one of her followers could always have some ability like Palm's Merman Clairvoyance, but I don't believe Togashi has given us any hints in that direction, and opening that can of worms steps into the territory of baseless speculation. So, with that in mind, there's very little chance that Morena knows about the time Terror Sandwich cheated death at Theta's hands. On the other hand, there is a decent chance she knows that he's learning Nen, that he's very talented, and that he is a specialist, since this was revealed before Terror Sandwich cut ties with the Hale Lee, and we don't know how close that liaison was to the prince. So, could it be that Morena simply wants her own specialist to combat the 4th Prince, since specialists are said to be better than other Nen users? Personally, I don't think so. You see, specialists are generally better than other Nen users on a one-to-one basis, but all you really have to do to make up for this is, send multiple people to jump the specialist in question. We saw Krollo get his shit rocked by a pair of emitters in Yorknew, and Morena could easily send 3 or 4 people to jump Terror Sandwich once they had a way to deal with his guardian spirit beast if it were that easy. In other words, this is not something only a specialist can do, and it wouldn't justify going to all the trouble Morena went to get a hold of Volkson. The answer to this question may lie in what exactly sets Terror Sandwich apart from other Nen users for practical purposes. I'm not talking about any kind of ability he deliberately created. What I refer to is the big old horse lady that guards him around the clock. Anyone who wants to take out Terror Sandwich, or for that matter, most princes, is going to have to deal with these big old animals guarding them. Now, yes, it's possible to deal with these beasties without using specialization. Everyone's least favorite yap machine, Rihan, showed us that much. So it still can't be something that simple. So far, all this shows that the most straightforward and efficient ways to deal with Terror Sandwich shouldn't actually require the help of specialists. But we also have to remember that Morena is driven by deeply personal scars and resentments, and it's entirely possible she wants to deal with Terror Sandwich some other way than the most efficient method because of this. She says, knowing him, he'll probably want to kill me himself, suggesting she has a decent knowledge of his character. And he was her benefactor, which may have created some kind of personal relationship between the two. Morena also has an affinity for games and a flair for the dramatic, hinted at by her behavior and how she's designed her Hatsu. Seeing as how Terror Sandwich enjoys tearing apart women like meat, the thing Morena was designated, he can be seen as a direct manifestation of that which she hates most about humanity. As such, I'm inclined to believe she has a far more gruesome and symbolically appropriate fate in mind for him than a simple assassination. She says he'll want to kill her with his own hands, but I suspect the feeling is quite mutual. Still, this doesn't tell us a whole lot. Perhaps we'll have better luck if we take a look at the different kinds of specialist abilities that have been shown throughout Hunter x Hunter and try to see how they could benefit Morena in the whole dealing with Terror Sandwich department. Let's start with healing fuckery. Now, I really doubt Morena wants Volkson to have an ability that puts people back together again, even though that could be useful to her. She could maybe get her liaison back this way, if she were to find all the bits, or she could heal her fallen comrades. There's also the rather macabre possibility that she wants to torture the fourth prince by disassembling him and putting him back together, all while he remains alive. But Morena doesn't seem like the type to waste too long on vendettas. Sure, she might enjoy sadistically killing her adversary, that seems like her, but this girl boss has shit to do. She's busy plotting the extinction of humankind. She's not gonna get hung up on something like this. How about power copying? This is an idea I believe is quite a bit more likely. Power copying seems to be the most well-known specialist ability, and that could be quite useful to Morena as well. You see, part of what I get from Morena's very multifaceted and layered character is an undertone of jealousy. She hates the royals, yes, but she also envies them a bit. She resents what her parent did to her, yet she created a card game and a Hatsu that positions herself as a parent to several children. Just like the Kakin princes, Morena sought power and a loyal faction of guards to play offensive and defensive roles in a death game. She even created her own death game, as if she only wished she could take part in the succession contest as she could if she were a legitimate child of the king. Thus, I posit, she might not just want to destroy Terror Sandwich's Nen Beast, but find a way to copy it and steal it for herself. It would complete Morena's parallels to the Kakin princes. She's already in a death game with a small group of loyal followers, so having a guardian spirit beast of her own would really fill that in. If Volkson were able to create something like Karapika's Steel Chain and procure Terror Sandwich's Nen Beast, it would help Morena feel just a bit closer to her royal kin. It would also be a fantastic strategic move. Morena is the head of this whole operation, and likely the strategist behind the Heili's efficient level grinding system. The movement could probably survive without her due to its contagious nature, sure, but the longer Morena lives, the more likely her goal of destroying the world will be realized, and it cannot be understated how useful these guardian spirit beasts are. Once Theta made up her mind to kill the fourth prince, she needed to concoct a whole elaborate plan to get that guardian spirit beast out of her way, because even though Terror Sandwich didn't even know Nen yet, the beast was just so formidable that she didn't think she could do it. Having this thing protecting you is equal to like a permanent bodyguard that's stronger than the average hunter and doesn't need to eat, sleep, or leave your side. It's incredibly formidable and would honestly be a pretty fitting move for Morena. You see, Morena has a tendency of appropriating the things that have abused her and using them for her own gain. Just like how contagion is passed on by a kiss, and just like how she took over the Heili Mafia, the Guardian Spirit Beasts are a symbol of the succession war in Kakin's monarchy. To appropriate one for her own usage would only continue this trend and further this symbolic pattern, whether it's just a bit of literary goodness or whether it's something she's consciously doing for herself. On that note, I want to say that this is, in my opinion, the second most likely idea, but it's first in my heart. That's because this directly shows how my girl Theta could be saved. If Terror Sandwich were to lose his beast, he wouldn't even know it. After all, he can't even see the thing. Even if somebody told him, he would lose his lie detector and Theta could lie to him to her heart's content without being under the imminent threat of the beast's ability, which activates when she lies to the prince 3 times, and she's currently at strike 2. But that's enough copium for now. You see, there's one aspect of Terror Sandwich's power that we haven't even touched on yet, and it very well may be why Morena felt the need to obtain a specialist in order to deal with this man. You see, Terror Sandwich is apparently something of a genius. When it comes to his Nen strategy, despite being a novice, he's able to outthink Theta and anticipate mechanics and aspects of it that Theta hasn't even hinted at to him. He seems to be a prodigy at every field he steps into, being incredibly well-versed in art, philosophy, and science, as well as displaying formidable intellect and determination with things like his gun disassembly training. The most dangerous thing about this man is absolutely his mind, and the other 2 types of specialization can help with that. Morena appears to demonstrate concern about whatever move Tsarayadnik will make against her, and that, I believe, is what she really wants Volkson to help with. You see, when it comes to gathering information, specialists are unmatched. They can erase their presence from others' minds, they can read memories, and they can even predict the future. I believe that what Morena really wants is for Volkson to develop one of these 3 Nen abilities in order to anticipate Terror Sandwich's next move against her and counter it appropriately. It also fits with what she said about her goals. This method would just be keeping tabs on Terror Sandwich, but it would be doing so in ways only a specialist could. If, as I suspect, Morena really does know the 4th Prince decently well, then it'll be obvious to her that this guy is simply smarter than she is, and she needs to be prepared for that if she's going to beat him. Sending a bunch of guys to break his kneecaps won't be enough to defeat the 4th Prince. He'll find a way to outsmart them. Something like Neon's ability or Pakunoda's ability would be the best way for Morena to protect herself from the 4th Prince's machinations, and I believe that is her true goal in recruiting Volkson. With all that stuff being said, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of what specialist ability Morena has been chasing. Let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see me talk about, and I hope you have a wonderful day!